Hello everyone, welcome to my channel IT and Automation Learners Hub. In today's Java session, I will explain about the identifiers, data types, and operators. These are the topics we are going to cover. Identifiers. We have two different identifiers: variables and constants, data types, and operators. Coming to identifiers. What is an identifier? An identifier is the name of a memory location where the data can be stored through programs. There are two different types of identifiers. One is variables, another one is constants. What is a variable? Variable is an identifier whose value can be changed during the execution of the program. What is constant? Constant is an identifier whose value cannot be changed during the execution of the program. Let me clarify these three terminologies: identifier, variable, and constant. Let us suppose I am taking the computer memory like this. Let us assume this is the computer memory. So in this computer memory, through my Java program, this is the memory. This is the computer memory. So in this memory, through Java program, let us suppose I have stored one value in this particular location. In memory here in this particular location, let us suppose I have stored one value. Similarly, in this particular location, I have stored one more value. And similarly, in this location, I have stored one more value. Let us suppose in these three areas, I have stored three values through my program like this. Here, I have stored 1. And here I have stored just a minute. Let us suppose here I have stored value 1. And here I have stored value 5000. Or let us suppose I'm taking one more value here. Instead of 5000, I want to take one more value, the suitable one. For example, let us suppose here I am taking one value 3.14. And here let us suppose I am storing a value, a symbol like this, dollar symbol. I'm storing dollar symbol here. So like this, in these three memory locations, I have stored three values. Okay. So while storing the data in the memory, it can be stored, but this is the complete memory. So from this memory, if I want to get back the information, whatever stored, we need to identify in this complete memory what is the location of this, what is the address of this particular location. So if I know the address of this particular location, then only I can get back data from this location. Similarly, here also, if I know the address of this location in the memory, then I can get this value 1 from this location. I can get back value 1 from this location. Similarly, so if I want to get back this dollar value, so I need to know the address of this location. So memory will be available and the data can be stored. But in order to process the data, like storing and retrieving, as number of times as required. So in order to process the data, we need to identify the memory locations where the program data, where the data has stored through our program. So for that purpose, we need to identify these memory locations. To identify these memory locations, here we will provide some names to these memory locations. For example, here I am giving a name X for this memory location. And here I am giving a name Y for this memory location. And here I am giving a name Z for this memory location. Now we can say that where one stored in the computer memory. Then here we can say the one stored in location X, the value 1 stored in computer memory in the location X. Now we have some name to this memory location. Similarly, if we ask where 3.14 stored in the computer memory, then we can say 3.4 value stored in the computer memory in a location Y. And similarly, where the dollar is stored in computer memory, then we can say dollar is stored in computer memory in location Z. Now we have stored data in computer memory, and we can identify where that data stored in the memory by using the names of those memory locations where where a programmer data stored in the memory. So now these X, Y, and Z are called as, now these X, Y. What are these X, Y, Z? So X, Y, Z are the names of 3 different memory locations. X, Y, Z are the names of 3 different memory locations. And these names of memory locations are nothing but identifiers. So these are called as identifiers. These are called as identifiers. So identifiers are nothing but the names of memory locations. Okay. So while storing the data, at the beginning of my program, I have stored the values like this. At the beginning of my program, I have stored the values like this. So during the execution of the program, let us suppose the value in X location is changed from 1 to 15. Let us suppose after some time, the value in memory location X is changed from 15 to 150. Let us suppose after some time, the value in the memory location X is the value in identifier X is changed from 150 to 2150. So at the beginning of the program, the value in this identifier X was 1, and at the end of the program, it was changed to 2150. Then this identifier, this type of identifier, here the identifier X is an identifier. So this type of, which is a name of a memory location, which is nothing but the name of a memory location. So the identifier whose value is changing during the execution of the program, and such identifier is known as variables. So now this identifier is called as variable. So variable is an identifier whose value can be changed during the execution of the program. Variable. Similarly, so at the time of the beginning of the program, let us suppose the value in location identifier Y. So X, Y, and Z are the names of memory locations, and names of memory locations are nothing but identifiers. Now Y is an identifier. So at the beginning of the program, if the value in identifier Y is 3.14, let us suppose at the middle of the program also this value is same, there is no change in the value, so 3.84. Let us suppose at the end of the program also the value is same without changing. The value in identifier y is not changing. So from the beginning to ending of the program, if the value of an identifier is not changing, then such identifier is called as constant. Now, this y is constant. It is not changing. It is fixed. During the execution of the program, it is not changing. It is fixed. So this identifier is called as constant. Similarly, let us suppose at the beginning, here z identifier z value is $. Let us suppose during the execution of the program, this dollar value has changed to let us suppose asterisk. And after some time, let us suppose this asterisk value has changed to hash symbol. So here also the value in identifier z is changing from time to time during the execution of the program. Now this z is also known as identifier z is also called as a variable. So in a program there can be variables or there can be constants. So this is variable. Okay, so like this. So these are the identifiers. So identifiers are nothing but the names of the memory locations, and identifiers can be of two types. The names of memory locations can be two types, either the variables or the constants. If the value in a memory location is changing from time to time during the execution of the program, then such an identifier is called as variable. If the value in the memory location or if the value of an identifier is not changing from time to time during the execution of the program, and if it is fixed, then such an identifier is called as constant. And if we observe here, we have one more point to note. In identifier x, here we are having in variable x, here we have one value 2150. It is a numeric value without decimal point. If we consider here, we are storing another type of value, that is 3.14 with decimal point. Numerical value, a numeric value with decimal point, a numeric value without decimal point. This is one type of data stored in the memory location. Here another type of data stored in the memory location. If we comes to third identifier, so here this is not a numerical value, it is simply a character. Before there was dollar, and after there was asterisk, and now it is hash. So here this is another type of data. So these three represents different data types. The numeric, numeric, and without decimal point, numeric value with decimal point, and this is a character value. So these three represents the different types of different types of data stored that can be stored in a memory location. And these three different types of data is termed as data types. These different types of data is represented as data types. Data types is nothing but the different types of data or values that can be stored in a memory location. So this is a data type. These are the data types. Data types are nothing but different types of data that can be stored into a computer memory. So these are the three. Here we identified four terminologies. One is the identifiers, the names of the memory locations. Identifiers are nothing but names of the memory locations. And here identifiers can be of two types, variables and constants. If the identifier value is changing from time to time, then it is variable. If the identifier value is not changing from time to time, then it is constant. And here different types of data can be stored in the computer memory through programs, and those different types of data is called as data types in Java. So like this here we use. So like this here we have the identifiers, variables and constants. Now let's comes to constants, variables concept. Variables. So as we discussed, a variable is an identifier whose value can be changed during the execution of the program. So variables can be used in Java program by declaration and initialization of variables. By declaration, variables can be used in two steps. One is by declaring the variable, and after that initializing the variable. What is declaration? Creation of variables in Java program is known as the declaration of variables. Creation of variables in Java program is known as declaration of variables. Storing values into the variables is known as initialization of variables. Creating a variable and storing the value into that variable. So declaration and initialization. So here we have the syntax for declaration of a variable. We can declare a variable like this is the syntax to declare a variable: data type, variable name. Example, here we have the different data types. As we said, we have different data types here. So here we have the different data types like integer, here we have different data types like int to represent the numerical values without decimal point, and float to represent the numerical values with decimal point. FLOAT, float, and char. Sorry. So like this, here we have three major and Boolean. So here we have the four major types of data types in Java. So integer, float, character, Boolean. These are the four major data types. Okay. So here the syntax specifies the data type, variable name. So here data type can be integer data type, float, and character data type. So int data type, int x, variable name is x. Data type variable, we can declare we can create or declare multiple variables at a time in a single syntax, in a single statement. So data type, variable name 1, variable name 2, variable name 3. So example here is int a, b, c, d. So like this, here we can create at a time any number of data types, variables. And syntax to initialize variables. Initialization is nothing but the storing the value into a variable. So for the syntax here is variable name is equal to value. Example, we have created one variable x, right? So x is equal to 10. And similarly, here we have created some variables. A is equal to 100, b is equal to 200. Like this, here we can store the values. Variables can be declared and initialized in the same statement also. So here we have used for two different syntaxes. For declaration, here we have used one syntax, and for initialization, here we have used another syntax. So we can declare and initialize at the same time by using a single statement also. So for that, so like this, here we can use. So int a is equal to 100, comma, b is equal to 200. Similarly, int x is equal to 1000, comma, y is equal to 2000, z is equal to. Here we can initialize with the help of some expression also. So by combining x and y, we are storing into z. So this is in this kind of statement here, we can declare and initialize the variables in a single sentence, single statement. Okay, how to use the variable names? So to use the variable names in Java, here we have some naming conventions, also called as rules for variables. Naming conventions are nothing but rules to follow while declaring the variables. So here I have taken A, B, X, Y, Z. Like this, I have taken variable names. So exactly what kind of variable names we can take in real time? So for that, here we have some naming conventions like variable names are case sensitive. First point we need to remember, variable names are case sensitive. Example, int total, small t o t a l, and int capital T o t a l. This total and this total both are different because variable names are case sensitive. So this total and this total both are different. Variable names can contain alphabets, digits, and special symbols, dollar and underscore. So variable name, if we want to use the variable names, then variable names can have the alphabets. We can create variable names with alphabets, digits, and only two special symbols, that is dollar and underscore. We cannot use dot, we cannot use comma, we cannot use asterisk, we cannot use hash symbol, hashtag. So we cannot use all this. We can use only two special symbols, dollar and underscore. Variable name should start with an alphabet or underscore or dollar symbol. So a variable name can start with an alphabet, underscore symbol or dollar symbol. So examples like this. So it can start with M, a alphabet, or it can start with underscore, or it can start with dollar. And variable names should not start with digits. Say for example, int 1, 2, 3 marks. I am taking 1, 2, 3 marks. It is starting with 1. So here, this is invalid variable name. It should not start with a digit. Variable names should not contain any Java keywords. Java keywords in the sense here in Java programming language, here we have some reserved words or keywords like int, float, char, boolean, class, interface, package, import, if, else, while, do, for, case, switch. So like this here we have the different reserved words. So those words can be used as per the defined Java defined purpose only. So we cannot use these words, these reserved words or keywords for the variables creation purpose. Okay, so that is variable names should not contain any Java keywords. For example, I am creating like this. I am giving a variable name class, int class. So here class is a reserved word, a keyword. We cannot use this one. Similarly, float, if is a keyword. We cannot use this if. So these are the rules to create the variable names. Now coming to the constants, Java constants. Constant is an identifier whose value cannot be changed during the execution of the program. Constants can be used in Java program by using following syntax. So this is the common syntax used to create a constants. So static final data type constant name is equal to value. So here we will declare a constant and initialize a constant. Both will be done in single statement and only one time it will happen, because we are not going to change from time to time, right? That's why. So static final data type constant name is equal to value. Example here, static final data type. I am taking the constant name pi, pi. Pi is equal to 3.14 float value. So float values will be represented like this, will be stored like this. If we want to assign a float value, we will need to specify f, okay, at the end of the number. So static final float pi is equal to, pi is the constant name, equal to 3.14 f. Okay, naming conventions for constants. So whatever naming conventions applied to variables, the same naming conventions will be applied to constants also. But while writing the constant names, while specifying the constant names, it is a common practice to use the uppercase letters for constants, like total value. And these, if there are two words in the constant name, then those two words should be separated by underscore. That is the common practice we apply. Otherwise, we can use the constant names also as variable names. But the common practice is here we use the uppercase letters for constants, and if there are more than one word in a constant, then those two words will be separated with underscore. So this is about constants. Now coming to the data types, Java data types. What is a data type? So just before we discuss, right? So data type specifies different types of values or data that can be stored in an identifier or memory location. Data type specifies the different types of data, different types of values or data that can be stored in an identifier or memory location, and it is called a data type. In Java, there are two types of data types. There are two categories of data types. One is primitive data types or basic data types. Another one is non-primitive data types or derived data types. In Java, here we have the two different data types. One is primitive or basic data types. Another one is non-primitive or derived data types. What is primitive data types? These data types are provided by the Java language by default. These are the default provided data types. So these are called as the primitive data types. We will see what these primitive data types, what are the Java language provided default data types, what we will see. What are those we will see. Next, another one is non-primitive or derived data types. These data types are derived from the primitive data types by the programmer as and when required. If we create a new data type from the existing primitive data types, then such data types are called as non-primitive data types or derived data types. So here we can categorize. So primitive and non-primitive data types. Here we have the two types of primitive data types, numeric and non-numeric. In coming to numeric data types, integer and floating point. These two are integer and floating point, and non-numeric data types are character and boolean. Integer, float, character, and boolean. These are the primitive data types. And non-primitive data types will be generated from these data types. Non-primitive data types will be created from these primitive data types. From these primitive data types, non-primitive data types will be created. And those are classes, arrays, interfaces, objects, and strings. So when we come in coming classes, we will discuss about, we will learn about these concepts. What are derived data types? What are classes? What is a class? What is array? What is interface? We will come to know about all these concepts in the coming classes, in upcoming classes. So coming to primitive data types. So here these integer data types can be subdivided into 4 types. Integer data types can be subdivided into 4 types, and floating point data types can be subdivided into two types, floating based on the size and range of the numbers we are using. So integer data types can be classified into 4 types, and float data types can be classified into 2 types, and there will be boolean and character. So integer here based on the size and numbers. Let us suppose we are storing the numbers from 128 to -128 to +127. Then it will take 1 byte, and that data type is called as byte data type. And if we are storing -32,768 to 32,767, then it takes 2 bytes, and it is represented as short data type. Similarly, int data type will take 4 bytes of memory space, and this is the range of int data type. Let us suppose we are storing a bigger integer value, then that can be represented as long data type, and it takes 8 bytes of memory space in the memory, and it can store the number from in this range, from this minus this value to plus this value. Similarly, coming to float data types. Float data type can be divided into two types. First float data type is 4 bytes. So if we are storing the value with 6 to 7 decimal digits, then it takes 4 bytes of memory space, and it is represented as float. If we are storing a decimal point value with 15 decimal digits, then it can take 8 bytes of memory space, and it is represented as double. And Boolean data type is used to store the positive, true or false value. It will take only 1 bit of memory. One represents true and 0 represent false. Boolean data type will take 1 bit of memory, either 0 or 1. 0 represents false, true represents 1. Sorry, 0 represents false, 1 represents true. And character data type. So in order to store any special characters, here we use character data type. It includes alphabets, digits, and any special symbols. We can store all these by using character data type. And here, for all these data types, for integer and other data types, the default value will be 0. And for Boolean data type, the default value will be false. Coming to Java operators. In Java, operators are used to perform different operations on variables and values and their values. In Java, operators are used to perform different operations on variables and their values. Below are here the commonly used operators are the arithmetic operators, relational operators, logical operators, assignment and shorthand operators, increment and decrement operators, ternary operators. So coming to arithmetic operators. These are the arithmetic operators: plus, minus, asterisk, by, and mod, div, and mod. Arithmetic operators are used to perform arithmetic operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and mod. This is the mod operator. Percentage is the mod operator. It will give the remainder after division. To get the remainder after division, here we use the mod operator. And relational operators. Relational operators are used to identify the relationship between two variables. Like let us suppose we have two variables, A and B. So with some values, then if we want to identify A is greater than B or not, A is less than B or not, A is equal to B or not, A is not equal to B or not, such kind of relationships, to identify the relations between two variables, here we use the relational operators. A is greater than B, A is greater than or equal to B, A is less than B, A is less than or equal to B, A is equal to B. So this is equality operator. This is double equals is called as the equality operator. By using equality operator, we can check whether two variables are having the same value or not. That is equality operator. This is not equal to operator. Here we use this not equal to operator to check whether two variables are having or are not having the same values. Whether to check whether two variables are having different values or not. Two variables are having different values or not. To check for that, here we use the not equal to operator. And here we have the logical operators. Logical operators are used as the connectors between two expressions, two relational expressions. Let us suppose I want to test the two conditions. Here we have three logical operators: and, or, not. Let us suppose here I want to check two expressions. For example, you went to a restaurant and you want to take a decision like you are going to eat. You are going to eat if you have the pizza and burger. Pizza is one expression and burger is one expression. If you have both, then only you are going to eat. So if both are true, if pizza is true and burger is true, if pizza is available and burger is available, then you are going to eat, let us suppose. So this is one kind of decision taken by using AND operator. Here we use two ampersand symbols to represent AND operator. And another one is OR operator. So let us suppose if you want to drink, then here you can drink. Let us suppose you will drink either water or cool drink. Anything is fine for you. If either water or cool drink, you are going to drink. So here, if any one expression is true, then the whole OR expression is true, will be true. And coming to not. So let us suppose you are going to eat, if it is not a vegetarian food, not vegetarian, not means if not, then you will take some decision. If it is not vegetarian food, then you are going to eat. Such kind of expressions to combine the expressions. So here we use the logical operators. And coming to the assignment and shorthand operators. Assignment operator. So here this equal to is the assignment operator. Let us suppose you want to store value 10. Then so here like this. Just a moment. Here like this. So this is the assignment operator. You are going to store 100, value 100 in variable A by using this assignment operator. Assignment operator will store the right hand side value into the left hand side variable. Always in the assignment operator, right hand side there will be a value or expression. In the left hand side there will be a variable. So assignment operator is used to store the value into a variable. And shorthand operators. So here we can use shorthand operators like plus equal to, minus equal to, star asterisk equal to. These are the right shorthand operators. Like let us suppose a plus equal to b. It means a equal to a plus b. So if you want to write a equal to a plus b, you can write in a short form a plus equal to b. Similarly, a minus equal to b means a equal to a minus b, like that. So these are the assignment and shorthand operators. And another one is the increment or decrement operators. Let us suppose increment operator. If you want to increase the value of a variable by 1, then here we use the increment operator. And similarly, if you want to decrease the value of a variable by 1, then here you use the decrement operator. So here increment operator. Increment operator is represented with plus plus symbol and decrement operator is represented with minus minus symbol. Let us suppose a is equal to 10. Then if you write a plus plus, then increment operator will be used. How increment operator will work? It will increase the value of a variable by 1. Here the value of variable is 10 and it will increase by 1, means a will become 11. Similarly, if you use a minus minus, minus minus is decrement operator. Decrement operator is used to reduce the value of a variable by 1. Suppose here the value of variable is 10 and if you use minus minus means decrement operator, it will be reduced by 1. That is a will become 9. So like this, here we use the increment and decrement operators. One more operator here we use, that is ternary operator. So why this is called as ternary operator means here we have the three expressions, three operands in this operator. Expression 1 is an operand, expression 2 is an operand, and expression 3 is an operand. So it will be like this. Syntax of the ternary operator will be like this. Expression 1 question mark, expression 2 colon, expression 3. How this works means if expression 1 is true, then expression 2 will be executed. If expression 1 is false, then expression 3 will be executed. For example, like this, C is equal to A is greater than B, question mark, then A will be stored into C. If A is greater than B, if it is true, then A will be stored into C. If A is greater than B, if it is false, then B will be stored into C. Like this, here we use the operators. So these operators, we will use these operators in coming programs based on the requirement and based on the programming features we are using. So in those situations, I will let you know where we are using the relational operators, where we are using the arithmetic operators, where we are using the logical operators, where we are using the increment decrement operators, shorthand operators. I will explain all these when we come up with the required programs. In those scenarios, I will explain all these operators to you people. So as of now, like this, here we have the different types of operators in Java. Now let's practice. Let's write some programs for these variables, constants, data types, and operators related programs. Let's write some related concepts. Let's write some program. Let us suppose I am writing one program here. Let me create one class. In the previous session, we have created one project, right? So in that we have created one class and we have written one program. Now I am creating one more class, and here class name is variables and constants. Variables and constants. Public static void main. I am taking the main function public static void main. Class name here is variables and constants. I told you, right? So class name always should start with uppercase letter, and if there are more than one word in a class name, then here we need to start each letter with uppercase, each word with uppercase letter. We can't finish. Yes, here this program has created. Now, so by using variables, constants, and by using variables and constants, here I am writing this program to find the area of a rectangle. Okay, to find the area of a rectangle. For that, I am taking what is the rectangle will contains what? Two sides. Okay, length and breadth. And how can we find the area of a rectangle? Length should be multiplied with breadth. Okay, L multiplication H. L into H will give the area of a rectangle. So first we need the length. We need to store the length value and we need to store the breadth value. So I'm taking integer type variable. I'm declaring two variables. I'm declaring two variables. Length and breadth. I'm declaring two variables, length and breadth. Two variables declared. So how to declare? What is the syntax to declare variables? Data type. So here we have different data types, right? The most commonly used data types are int, float, double, and character, and char, and boolean. Okay. So here I am not taking any decimal point values. That's why I am taking integer variable, data type, and variable name. I am taking variable name like this: length, length, comma, breadth. Length and breadth. I'm taking two variables. Now I want to store the values into these variables. Length is equal to, let us suppose, 40, and breadth is equal to let us suppose 60. Now I want to declare one more variable, area, rectangle area. So I'm declaring here only rect rect underscore area. I'm declaring like this. Now is equal to rect underscore area is equal to length into breadth, right? So here we are using the arithmetic operator. Into is the arithmetic, asterisk is the arithmetic operator used to perform the multiplication. length into width. So I have calculated I have declared some variables and I have calculated the length also. So here same statements I can write like this also. In a single statement, I can represent all these statements also. So I'm doing that also. In that, let us suppose I'm declaring like this: int length equal to 40, breadth equal to 60, rect rect underscore area. Sorry. Rect underscore area equal to length into breadth, right? Length multiplication breadth. So in a single statement also, we can declare and initialize the variables in a single statement. Now I am displaying the value. So how can we write system.out.println s5s control space, and here you can give just a single quotation, double quotation one time, then area of rectangle is equal to. So here I am displaying the value from this variable. Okay, rectangle rect underscore angle. So this is here the plus is called as the concatenation operator, concatenation. So it will concatenate this part and the value of this variable. Okay, so like this here we use. Now let us suppose I want to find the area of a circle. Okay, area of a circle. So for that I am declaring one variable radius. Radius is equal to, I am giving radius like 50 radius is 25 radius. Okay, so here what is the formula to find the area of a circle is pi r square. Pi value is 3.14. So that is fixed, it will not be changed. Pi value will not be changed. The radius may be changed from 25 to 30, 35 to 40, or 50, 60, like this. Radius can be changed, but pi value will not be changed. It is not going to be changed. That's why I am going to use it as a constant. So I'm going to declare pi value as a constant. Static final float, data type is float, and variable name is I am giving pi underscore value, like this I'm giving. I can give any value, it should follow the naming conventions. That's it. I'm specifying value like this 3.14, and so it is a float value. I need to specify like this, float semicolon. See, pi value we are going to use. This is a constant now. So constant will be used on top of the function, so that it will be, this is not going to change, right? So if we are using multiple functions, for all the functions it should be available. That's why we are keeping like this. Let us suppose if this value is going to be used across different classes, then it will be declared as public also. Public, it will be declared like public also. Okay, as of now I am not using that concept, public related concept. If we enter into the classes concept at the time, we can use this public. So I have declared one constant. Now I am identifying the radius. So radius, for radius I am taking one float variable, float circle area. Float circle area is equal to, how to calculate, radius into pi value, pi r square, right? Pi r square, pi or we can take only pi also, no problem. We can take pi also. And this also we can take the pi. Okay, pi is equal to pi r square, right? Pi radius r a d I o e s, r square means 2 times pi r square. So this will give the area of a circle. Now let's display the output. System SYSO control space questions area of a circle is equal to area of a circle is equal to, so here we use concatenation operator plus will, in print statement the plus will become concatenation operator, in other statements the plus will become addition symbol. Okay, EIR, I'm displaying the value of circle area, EIR underscore area. So like this, here we use let me write one more statement, SYSO space control space, here is program end. So like this, here we will declare the variables and constants. Let me show you some invalid variables also. I will show you some invalid variables also. Let us suppose I am declaring some invalid variable. Int, let us suppose ABC underscore 1, 2, 3. Okay, this is a valid variable. Let us suppose if I am writing like this, int 1, 2, 3. What is the rule here? The variable should not start with, variable name should not start with a number. So I am starting with a number 1 ABC. See, it is showing the error here. So it is an invalid. So invalid variable because it is starting with a digit. It is starting with a digit. It should not start with a digit. It can start with a dollar. See, it is not showing any error here. It can start with an underscore also. It is not showing any error here. Okay, so it should be started only with, it should not start with a digit. So let us suppose I am taking one more variable, int I am taking a variable like suppose final. This is a static is a keyword, right? I am using keyword int static static semicolon. See, it is showing error. We cannot, because static is a keyword, we cannot use a keyword. Okay, like this, here we can identify the valid and invalid variables also. Now let's execute this program. So in order to execute, you need to save here. Even without saving also we can run. So, and at the same time, to execute a Java program in Eclipse, we can execute by clicking on this run button or the arrow symbol, and here run as Java application. This is one approach. Or you can also use shortcut like Alt Shift X and press J. See, it is automatically executed. See, here it is giving the output. So this is the area of the rectangle and this is the area of the circle. Okay. So like this, here we can execute the program. This is about the parameter identifiers, variables, constants, data types, and operators. In tomorrow's session, I will come up with a new and interesting concept. So until that, thank you for watching. Please subscribe for more useful videos. Please like, share, and give your valuable comments. Thank you.